Thumbs. We're back for another episode of Boobies and Doobies.
Boobies and Doobies.
Welcome, Emma. This is Emma, our guest today. She's saving potty talk. So welcome, Emma.
Saving potty talk?
You're saving.
You're reamping it.
Yeah.
Oh, so this was potty talk.
No, it is.
It still is potty talk.
I thought it was Boobies and Doobies.
Boobies and Doobies is like a fun little code name.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah, it's in the previous episode. You should go check it out.
Yeah, first episode is we called it Oobies and Oobies, skirting the algorithm.
Gotcha.
But we made a joke about Boobies and Doobies.
I see.
Potty Talk is the name. Aiden was our first guest like a month plus ago, but you're saving it because we need guests.
Okay, I love the name potty talk.
Thank you. Potty talk.
I wish there were Boobies and Doobies though here.
Yeah, right. Well, we got one covered, right?
Well, you're welcome.
So tell us about yourself, please, Emma.
Okay, so I am a college student. I study psychology and sociology because I have a special interest in just learning about people and how people function, and why people do the things that they do. And then I also have my own little special interests in fashion, and I really love nature. I like to explore different parks in the city where I live, or where we live. Yeah, I don't know. Other than that.
And we all work together.
And we all work together.
That's very good.
Yeah, yet another Joe's connection.
Yes.
Of course.
So going back to the student bit, you said you're a psychology and sociology double major?
Yes.
Okay, so the sociology part is news to me.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I plan on going into psychology. That's going to be my career because there's just not a lot of sociology careers unless I want to be a professor, which I really don't want to do. So, but it's a special interest of mine. I think that sociology is really cool because just you study the makeup of society and why we, what influences the way that we act and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think they go hand in hand.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, one's an individual level and one's a group level, but they both play off each other for sure.
Yeah. Jackson, have you taken any psychology or sociology
Funny you
classes?
might ask. So I took a psychology class at Cape Fear, and then I'm in a psychology class right now.
Okay. Is there a specialization for the psychology class you're in now?
It's the 101 deal.
Okay.
It's pretty intro level. It's cool so far. I'm liking it. I want to learn the makeup of humans.
Yeah.
What makes them think, because I think it'll be good for marketing. So that way I can,
Oh, definitely.
see, what they want, because I gotta give them what they want, or at least I need to make sure they hear what they want.
Yeah.
Because then they'll buy it.
No, once you know psychology, I don't do this, but I'm sure a lot of people do.
Uh-oh.
You can really manipulate people because you know how the brain works. So especially in marketing, they use so much psychology. They really do just manipulate people's minds.
That's what we're all about.
Just pulling strings, little puppet masters
No,
out here.
exactly. That's what the marketers do. So that'll be you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I pull the strings of the company. So when I say I pull some strings, I will.
Yeah, it's fascinating about psychology versus sociology because some people might say sociology is not very interesting or not very useful. Not that it's not interesting.
So useful.
It's not that it might not be very useful. It's oh, you want to be a professor or whatever. But psychology, I feel oh yeah, major in psychology and do whatever career.
Yeah, a lot of people get degrees in psychology and then don't actually end up ever doing a psychology job because you have to kind of go to grad school.
Yeah.
And that's not in a lot of people's plans. It's in my plans because I want to be clinical psychologist, but.
Okay. So is a clinical psychologist, is that a therapist or?
Yeah, it's just practicing psychology in the medical field. So yeah, therapist. Okay. Or in the clinical sense.
Okay, so.
I'd be able to diagnose bitches.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd be an MD.
No, I have to get my doctorate for that. I'm not doing that.
You'd be a psychologist.
So with talking about being a doctor or not, do you don't want to get a PhD or an MD? You want to just get a master's and
So originally when I went to school, I was like, I'm gonna do psychiatry, like I'm gonna get my doctorate. And then I actually got to school and I got very depressed and just like my grades just like dropped. So I don't think I'd get into med school. But also like I don't need to do psychiatry. Like I think I will personally be satisfied with clinical therapy because it's more like talking to people and that's what I want to do anyways. Like psychiatry is more like, what's up? Here's your medication. You're crazy. Like,
You're crazy.
Let's fix this.
Okay, right. Yeah.
Lock the crazies up.
Wow,
No.
Jackson out here. Dehumanizing.
No, that's what you would do.
No, lock them up.
Yep.
Okay, so we're kind of stumbling into an interesting idea for me that I wanted to ask you. Are you familiar with the term psychonaut?
No.
Okay.
What?
So my understanding of the term psychonaut, feel free to correct me in the comments, please, is that it's like an explorer of the mind.
Okay.
And a lot of people like associate it with like the harder psychedelic drugs like LSD and what's the other one? Mushrooms?
Or, yeah, mushrooms.
Yeah.
Duh.
So a lot of people are like, oh, psychonaut, like, oh, I'm going deep, you know, whatever. But I don't think it necessarily has to be drug related.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, a lot of people like that facilitates kind of like, you know, expansive thinking and
The
such.
third eye.
The third eye type stuff. But
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, yeah. I imagine he's like
He's
more,
a psychonaut.
yeah, he's like a literalized psychonaut, I guess. I don't know. Like, it's
Yeah.
weird to think about the multiverse because it's like, is that made up in our heads
Oh my
or is
God.
that?
I just feel like the universe is so infinite. Like, sorry, not to get off topic, but the universe is so infinite. How could there not be like all these possibilities played out?
Right. And like you say, sorry to go off topic, but like this is the like that's part of
Yeah.
the topic, you know?
Yeah.
Like this is us like imagining that our universe like is so vast and it's not even imagination. Like we have observed, you know, like we have the technology and we have the science to help us understand like the vastness of the universe.
The black holes.
Yeah, and how like yeah, like
I mean, it literally is infinite. At some point, everything is gonna get played out.
yeah, probably.
Oh wow.
But yeah, anyway, so like, you know, maybe we're not quite well versed enough to talk about psychonauts right now, but I think it could be an interesting idea for you to explore.
No, definitely.
You know, in your
And if what you say, like, it's like the idea that you go deeper and you try to explain those things. Like, that is what I try to do in my everyday life. Like, I'm very much a problem solver, and like, I am constantly just like using the information that I take in from other people to like readjust the way that I view the world. You know, like
a sane, reasonable, rational person would.
yeah, as most people do. I mean, like that's how we as humans like process the world around
Right.
us, and like that's how like we develop our schemas and shit like that.
We learned about that in class yesterday.
schemas.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
But also the people that don't, like they're interesting because like they're like the psychological conundrums because it's like why do you keep doing these things?
Yeah.
You know, like the insanity thing. Like why do you keep
Yeah,
doing the same
doing the
thing
same-
thinking that you might expect a different result?
And that's what's interesting because since I'm in sociology, I'm in a sociology of deviance class, so I kind of am able to understand what on a social level causes people to deviate from the norm.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, going back to the like, I guess divergence of psych and soc. Like it's fascinating because psychology's here and sociology is this.
It's the interaction between all of our brains.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
wild. I took one. I guess I might have taken 2 sociology classes in college,
Mhm.
but I took one like intro to soc, like you know fall of freshman year, and like I got a B plus, and it was like such a well. I mean no, like it was so dumb. Like I read like the textbook like on Friday nights, like not every Friday night, but there were some Friday nights like oh I'll just stay in and like I'll just study,
Yeah.
and like you don't stay in on a Friday night to get a B plus.
You go out to caves.
No.
Yeah. And
Go to caves on a Friday.
Yeah, I'm saying.
so anyway, like that class was a joke, but whatever, you know, fall freshman year, well, you know, take the 101s.
No, definitely. Like I did not take my gen eds as seriously
Yeah.
as I take them now, or take my classes now.
But then I took like a sociology and the environment class, and like I liked that one a lot more.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And you know that was like strictly. I thought I might do like a minor in like the environmental thing, but I didn't. You know, eventually just there's too much stuff. But I did like that class a lot more. With psychology, I took 2 classes as well. One was intro, and like I'm grateful for that class just because like it's good. I think it's good to take. It's good to have the base level.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know, it didn't win me over into the major.
It didn't open your eyeballs.
I mean,
Your third eye wasn't.
Yeah. Third eye was.
Blinked.
It blinked exactly.
It was like.
I think the title of this episode might just be Third Eye Blink. I think that might be. That's the title.
We always let you guys know what the title is.
Emma and the Third Eye Blink. That's it.
Oh, I like that.
But
in the multiverse.
Here's the juiciness, though, and this might be getting too spicy for the pod, Jackson.
Okay.
The second psychology class that I took.
I think I know what you're saying.
What am I going to say, Emma?
Is it the psychology of sex?
Dude, it's human sexuality, yes.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
Have we talked about this?
No, we haven't.
Dude, you okay over here, Jackson?
No, but it's interesting because, like, especially because you want to talk about dating, right?
Yeah, yes.
Nowadays, dating is almost strictly like you go on like these dating apps, you're swiping, and you're planning on hooking up with people, and something may or may not come out of that, but most of the times relationships nowadays are started off with sex.
Yeah.
And so it's just interesting how that actually affects our psyche.
So, I got a hilarious line from one of our coworker friends the other day, and you know, people were talking about like matching with somebody and whatever else, and like one friend matched with another coworker friend's other coworker friend.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter. It's supposed to be confusing, but it's just like it's like a network of just, you know, like we all live in the same city. You know, like people are gonna know each other.
We're all the same age.
We're gonna have
mutuals. So, you know, like one friend was asking the other friend, like, "Hey, what do you know about this guy? Whatever, blah 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 blah."
Yeah.
And then it was just kind of like, I don't want these worlds to like combine. I don't want this convergence. And the line that we gave about the situation and maybe the diagnosis of this other person was looking for love, willing to bang.
Oh my.
Been there.
Been there. Which I just think that's like a hilarious tagline.
Yeah.
And like if I ever get back on Tinder, I might use that as my Tinder tagline.
No.
I mean, I don't know. It's been a while since I've been on Tinder.
But you're on the Hinge.
Well, I have been. I'm not on right now.
Oh.
And I'm trying to hold off until March.
Why?
Before I get just to like give myself the mental break.
No, definitely.
Like
especially at Valentine's.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like it's weird, you know, like
there's too many sneaker drafts to worry about.
I mean that's your game. No shame in that game for you.
No shame in the game.
But yeah, no, I just think the apps mess with our heads.
No, definitely.
And not even just like, oh, mess with my head, but like it's rewiring our fucking circuitry.
Definitely, because like you think about it, like what 50, 60 years ago, like whenever you were meeting people, it wasn't just like it's so dehumanizing. You separate the person by what they look and like who they actually are.
And
so
a
you're
couple
like,
things about them.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're just like, you're ugly, like you don't matter. Swipe left. You're cute. You're so hot. Like I'm gonna have sex with you. Like
yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
And like 50, 60 years ago, it was like you actually go on dates and you're meeting these people in person and like you're actually having real conversations. Now we're just so disconnected.
Yeah.
Too much screen time.
And also going back to the mutuals. Like it used to only be like, yeah, you could only date people you had already met.
Yeah.
Because like how else could you meet them for a date? Like
or like a blind date, like a friend of a friend.
Right.
But,
mutuals.
Yeah, exactly. But that's as far as you were getting. It wasn't going to be like some random person unless you went up to someone in public and was like, hey.
Right.
Hello.
Yeah, they're only random for like the instant of like they're strangers, and then you talk to them, they become acquaintances. You know, it's like they could become friends, they could become a date. Yeah.
Yeah, but now it's like you can talk to like multiple people at once on Snapchat from Tinder, and then you could like just ghost them the next day because you don't care about their feelings.
Yeah.
Like you don't even know this person. You haven't met them in person.
Yeah. Dang. Oh yeah, Snapchat. I wonder if I've talked about Snapchat on Poddy. Okay, so here's my Snapchat story. When I was a senior in college, like that's like when Snapchat was taken off.
What?
This was 10, 11 years ago.
2013.
This was, yeah. So I'm talking about the fall of 2012.
Okay.
And I'm a senior in my frat house like eating lunch in like the basement kitchen dining room area, and I'm watching these sophomores like do that, and I'm just like, what the fuck are y'all doing?
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, oh man, it's this new app, Snapchat, like it deletes your photos.
It's
so
like, oh.
Yeah, so it's like, oh geez, and it's like Vine and Snapchat kind of rolled out at the same time,
Yeah.
and it was just like, people were like, get Vine, get Snapchat. I was just like, all these apps that I just don't want, like no, because I already had Twitter, and it was like downloading apps, and like and I just got my like iPhone, so I was just like, I didn't really want, I'm like learning all this stuff, and I'm just like, I don't want more apps like that I don't care about, like because I have to like keep in touch with people.
That is another thing, sorry, that is so frustrating, is the constant social pressure to keep up with people. Like before, you go home, you have your own personal life. You maybe like call one person after you get off work. Now it's like you're constantly having to respond, and like there's a social expectation that if you're on your phone, you should be responding to people.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyways, your Snapchat story.
No need to apologize. Yeah, I think my Snapchat story is pretty much done, but it was just, I remember seeing the dudes, like, again, they were like looking at their laps, like with their phones down here, and just like making weird faces. And I was just like, what are y'all doing? And not to get all like boomer, like get off my lawn, old man status, but it was so weird, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not downloading that.
No, yeah. My generation's weird as fuck, or our generation.
I mean, yeah. It's and like that's the thing, like we can make it generational, but it doesn't have to be, because like even like my generation is like we were the we took Snapchat.
That's true. You started.
Like y'all are TikTok. We're right, and I don't even know, because Aiden said something. He's like, oh yeah, like Instagram is for millennials, like Facebook is for boomers.
It's the distribution's looking to work out that way.
Yeah, and again, like it doesn't even need to be generational, because I also think it's like historical. If you look at that time, like the late 2000s, like early teens, when like we were starting to like really tap into the smartphones and apps took off.
MySpace.
I mean that's like mid 2000s.
Oh. Wow.
But yeah, just it's like in a way it's historical, and it's like our like present moment of like human time.
Yeah.
Okay, so we I feel like we have a pretty good handle of who Emma is kind of at this point. We have the introduction at least. We've touched on dating. I don't think we've exhausted the topic, but we've touched on it. Little psychonauts, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Since I mentioned I was in a fraternity, and we said we might want to touch on some of that stuff. What are your thoughts on fraternities and sororities, Emma?
Okay, so just to preface, I am the sweetheart of a fraternity, which basically means that you're just like their friend, and I paint banners for them for their parties and stuff like that. Nothing too crazy, we just go to all their events. But so whenever I first came to college, like I never ever thought I would be hanging out with frat boys, because I was just like this like little weird girl with colored hair and like
What color?
I changed it. I had like blue, green, pink,
Oh wow.
Red.
We missed the rainbow Emma phase.
You did.
I saw
Dang.
pink, I thought, that one time.
That's true. I
Like
did.
last year
Yeah,
or
but
something.
no, it was really vibrant. It was like just my bangs.
Oh wow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I was like, I was so nervous to talk to boys like all the time my freshman year. And then I was just like really depressed my freshman year, like I said before. And it was hard because like I came to college during the middle of COVID.
The worst time.
Yeah, literally the worst time. So it was so hard to make friends, and like all I could do was like, probably shouldn't be admitting this, but go out to parties and like see people. And then eventually, like me and my friends, we were going to a party. We accidentally went into the wrong house, but there were still some dudes like hanging out there. So we were like, hey, like, could we hang? And they were like, yeah. And they ended up being in a fraternity called Tau Kappa Epsilon. Teak. What'd you say?
That was Zach's.
No, it wasn't.
Oh.
It was my friend Mark. But,
Good old Mark.
Good old Mark. And then, yeah, we just kind of started hanging out with them, and they became some of my closest friends. Like, they're definitely the reason I'm still in Wilmington, because otherwise I would have transferred.
Wow.
Yeah, because, like...
That one house helped
Yeah,
you.
I just didn't have, like... really great. Like, I do have really great friends now, and like I have some friends from freshman year that are still really great, but my friend group in general was just a lot of drama.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I am here now because of the fraternity, and I've definitely gone through like my phases with it.
Yeah.
Whenever I first started hanging out around them, I was like, this is a really great organization, like, because basically what they do is they take, at least the fraternity that I'm a sweetheart for, is they take like these like nerdy, like more shy, like less confident guys, and they build them up.
Yeah.
And like basically
nice.
like, you know, like build up their confidence and just make them more confident in who they are.
Yeah. I'm glad you say that, because I think that is the value of a fraternity or just an organization. It doesn't have to be like a fraternity, a brotherhood, whatever. It doesn't even have to be gendered. But it does, I think there is some use to fraternities and sororities and like benefit to society, and not just this like dark, seedy, like grotesque, you know, college debauchery.
Yeah, and I think it's also changed a lot in recent years. Like in the 70s, like whenever they could like haze like really strongly and like all that stuff, like maybe fraternities were a little bit more like deviant, but now it's like,
well, I mean, we can definitely still find deviants, like,
definitely
now, and maybe.
Oh, don't worry. I'll
right?
talk,
Yeah.
I'll talk about the deviants.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but also going back to your idea of like you would have transferred had you not found this friend group. Like that's how I felt also at Northwestern.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm from the Houston suburbs. I went to Evanston, Illinois, outside Chicago for college, and you know, just like at the base level, like that's a big climate change. And I had like my first real, you know, like northern winter.
And people-wise climate change.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. Growing up in like, you know, middle class, working class burbs, and then going, I didn't even realize like I was like rubbing elbows with certain people, you know, at Northwestern. But you know, it's a lot of rich kids. But yeah, so at Northwestern they had deferred rush. Freshmen could not join fall of freshman year. They had to wait until the winter.
Okay.
And that's just, you know, it's just a more fair, I think fair for everyone to be like, oh, we known this kid for 3 months rather than we know this kid for 3 days or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And you know, it gives you a better idea of like whether you really want to join a house or not.
It
Or
also gives you time to adjust to being in college in general.
exactly, yeah. So I joined in the winter, and then like, you know, I kind of struggled a bit, just like with that winter. And you know, Chicago, like the sun sets at like 4:30 in the winter. It's crazy.
Awful.
Yeah.
Seasonal depression.
Seasonal depression. Yeah.
Yeah, Chicago's cool.
Seasonal depression really hit me in college. And then, you know, but I kind of made my way through the winter quarter, and then the spring quarter was like so much fun. And I thought about maybe transferring to Rice University back in Houston, but it was like, nah, like this fraternity thing's like going pretty well. Like I'm making friends and this is cool, so like let's ride with it. And then sophomore, junior, senior year, like, you know, had an amazing time, like, you know, brothers for life kind of thing. And yeah, like I went way hard with fraternity stuff, and you know, it wasn't all like sunshine and roses. You know, we had our moments, we had our, you know, disagreements and arguments and like soul searching type thing. But
Case races.
yeah, I mean, right. Some people try to do case day.
Have you ever heard of the Great American Challenge?
What's that?
So basically you have to like, I think it's like smoke.
Schmishman.
Yeah, you have to smoke like a quarter, drink a handle.
Oh my God.
Or no, not a handle.
Don't do this,
drink,
everyone.
Drink a fifth.
Duh. Yeah, but don't do that either.
Eat a whole pizza.
Okay.
And
I
then
can
like
eat the whole
build a whole
pizza.
Lego set.
Oh, build a Lego set. I love that. That's like the wild card at the end.
I can
Jeez.
do the pizza and the Lego set. That's about
There
where
it is.
I draw the line.
Yeah, I mean, and so this is the thing about college. Like, college is so much fun, and like, you know, there's so much youth and energy, and just, you know, people are making friends, making connections, like dreaming their dreams, and like, what do I want to do with my life?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, there's such like stupidity, shenanigans, tomfoolery. It's like high functioning alcoholism. And like some people continue it through their 20s, and it's like it's tough, and it's just like, please, like, take care of yourselves.
You're building these habits now, and once you have a habit, it's really hard to break it.
Yeah.
Like I have friends who are drinking like half a case of beer every single night, and
No
it's like,
way.
like I just hope that they're okay and like their liver's gonna be fine.
Yes way, Jackson. This is really happening.
It's not ideal.
It's not ideal. No,
not
yeah.
for me personally, but I guess for them.
No,
shit.
but like that's the thing. Like it's not ideal for anyone.
That's
like
true.
alcohol is poison. Like these substances that like make us feel different ways, like it's poison. And maybe it's like some aren't bad poisons or as bad of poison, but like yeah, it's crazy. Like the recreational like brain cell destruction that we like participate in every single day.
And that's what is so crazy about it. Like I said, there are good aspects of fraternities. Like I think that they can be very helpful because I've seen so many people like come out of their shells and like really like come into themselves. But also there is the aspect of like in college in general, but especially in fraternities, of you have to drink to have fun.
Right. Yeah.
And I spent my sophomore year, like whenever I was friends with these guys, I'm still friends with them, but I spent most of it just like drinking my life away. And like every time we'd hang out, we would be drinking. And I'm like, I just want to go do some wholesome activity. Like we live at the beach. Let's go to the beach and like hang out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I really burnt myself out. And
I remember that last year.
yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Whenever I was like,
yeah, we'd be working. I'd be like, "What'd you do yesterday?" And she's like, I just got up at 5."
Yeah.
Like, no, you like stayed up till like 5 a.m. and then you'd have to like
Yeah.
open or something,
yeah.
or be there at like 11.
And I was miserable. Like I was happy in the moment and it was fun, but also like I was just so exhausted
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like it wasn't healthy for me. It made my mentality not great because I was drinking to have fun, and like I didn't always feel very confident in my friendships.
And you can't get good sleep when you're like
No.
so intoxicated all the time.
Yeah, and my psychiatrist always says like the first thing to getting better like mentally is fixing your fucking sleep schedule.
Yeah, yeah. So we can do this deep dive, kind of a reveal for me. So my junior year, I lived in the fraternity house, and that's like, you know, when you're doing that, it's like you're all in, and it's just like we would like, it wasn't every day, but sometimes we'd be like, oh, let's have a beer at lunch, like, oh, let's take a shot before class, you know,
Yeah.
like stupid shit like that.
I've done shit like that before. It's
Yeah, so like school started for us because we did quarters, not semesters, like in September for the fall. So like, but from September, October, November, December, basically all the way until like May, I realized like, oh my gosh, like I've been drinking and smoking like every single day. And it's like, sure, you have moments of sobriety in there, but if you're not like really detoxing and like letting yourself sleep better, and like, sure, I was probably going to the gym, you know, a few times a week, but again, it's just that kind of like haphazard, like happens this day, oh, maybe not that day.
Do you know what dissociation is?
Yeah.
Yeah. From that, I got into a really bad like state of dissociation where I was just like walking through life and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, I'm still like trying to like navigate my own kind of dissociative tendencies, or you know.
Because it's not just from alcohol and drugs and stuff like that. It's also from anxiety. And
Yeah, I mean, right. Dissociation, I think, in a certain way, is also just like a coping mechanism for like our present reality of like we have this real world, but we also have screens all over the place.
Especially nowadays.
Yeah. So
we have so much escapism that like we don't even have to be in our real lives.
Like
Exactly.
you said, you can just hide behind the phone, ghost on. You can just easily disassociate. You can just be like, done.
Yeah. So at the end of my junior year, I checked into a mental like hospital, like the mental ward of a hospital, because I just started psychiatric medicine, and you know it was just like I was still in like such a rough, terrible place, yeah, it was weird. And then I was sober for a lot of that summer. I didn't drink for about 5 or 6 weeks. I didn't smoke for a good while. And then finally on the 4th of July, it was like, all right, you know what? You can have a beer. Like, you know, let's ease into this. And, you know, like, had a beer. I might have had 2 beers on the 4th of July. And it's like, okay, like, drinking's not your problem, dude. Like, you know what your problem is. Fireworks, dude. That's exactly right, Jackson. Fireworks.
Yeah.
Watch out when you're lighting fireworks, everybody. But yeah, so anyway, hey, shout out to all the kids out there, kids and adults. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your mental health.
Take care of each other.
Take care of each other. That's huge.
Don't drink yourself to death.
Don't drink yourself to death. Don't smoke yourself to death. Don't inject yourself to death.
Don't eat too many mozzarella sticks.
Don't mozzarella stick or like brownie or fucking cake batter yourself to death because
Too much milk, you know. Like.
Yeah, and I mean it's crazy because taking care of yourself mentally, like sleep schedule, but it's also like have a good diet, you know, like exercise.
Yeah. One thing that I've like kind of started practicing is working on something for your mind, your body, and your spirit every day.
Love that.
So like my body is like I like to walk to class, and I'll like take the bus, so I have to like walk longer to the bus or whatever.
Nice.
And then I'll like journal for my spirit, and then for my mind like meditate. You know, like you have to really hit every aspect of yourself, or else you're not fully like, I don't know, you're not fully like
engaged,
exactly.
Activated.
Exactly.
Yeah. So in hearing you talk about these methods that you have, it's fascinating because like I need to get back into journaling. You know, like I've sporadically done journaling the past few years, but when I was in high school and in like undergrad, I journaled a lot.
Yeah.
And
because you were creative writing.
Exactly.
Yeah, you should be writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, do what it really helps to lean into your passions and what you're passionate about, because then you like, I don't know, because sometimes you're just like, I'm floating through life, what am I doing? But
Exactly.
It's nice to like lean into your purpose or like lean into your passions.
Yeah, and I think journaling is a great way for that. But then you said like meditation for your mind, and like that is important, but it's also like meditation is also like a spiritual thing.
Yeah, it can be both.
And then
mine also like is my schoolwork and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. Great point.
Mine never mattered.
But then thinking about like the physical thing, like let's walk to class. You know, just like taking more time to walk or like ride a bike and just like move through the world and not in your car, like your cell. Mm-hmm. It's like that's its own like meditative exercise. Like, like look how nice the sky and like the leaves look right now.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed recently like just walking, like putting on my headphones and just looking around, like not picking up my phone the whole time I walk, like looking around, seeing what's around me and like observing things.
I wanted to say earlier when we were on our screens. I heard this from my youngest brother's girlfriend. Shout out Grayson. This is brother Adam, not brother Matt. But shout out brother Matt and his girlfriend Jordan. Shout out to the fam. How about that? Shout out to the fam. Mom, love you in Thailand. Dad, love you too. Whatever the fuck you're up to. She did it, not me. So Adam's girlfriend Grayson said, "Hang up and hang out," and it's like that's. Hang up and hang out, y'all, you know? Because it's like when you're like in a group of people and it's like everyone's like looking at their phones and it's just like, nah, hang up and hang out. I hate it in the break room when there's like multiple people in there and everyone's on their phone.
Yeah.
And in those moments, I'm like, I'm not on my phone. Like, I'm going to be the person not on my phone.
Well, okay, to be fair, sometimes in the break room, like, I actually just need to like do my own
escape.
thing.
You need to escape.
It's an escape thing.
Yeah.
But I do really enjoy like the conversations that I have in the break room.
Yeah, and so
what happens in the break room stays in the break room.
Sometimes.
Sometimes it's like Vegas.
So yeah, my thing about the break room and everyone on their phones, if it is that moment, is not even necessarily like the missed conversation. I just hate when everyone's like this, you know?
Yeah.
So if it's like 5 people, it's like I don't want 100% of those 5 people all like nah.
Yeah.
And it's like nope, I'm putting mine down. Like at least 20%, one of these 5 is not like just glued into this like nya, 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 nya.
And also I'm guilty of it, but like not even like saying hi to someone when they walk in. Like you're just like.
So yeah, like. Working retail is weird because I try to say hi to everybody, like especially coworkers, because it's just like we're gonna see each other probably for the next few hours. So I try to say hi to everybody, like upon greeting.
Yeah.
But then it's like, you know, there are times like we'll pass each other by and not make eye contact, and it's like, well, you can't always just like. Jackson's good about it though. He's always like, homie.
What's up?
I've been told I say hi too many times, but you know, I'm just trying to spread the love.
Say hi as much as you want.
Say hi, yeah.
Don't let the haters change your ways.
Yeah. Anyway.
Do you ever go to say hi to someone and you're like, wait, did I already say hi to them today?
Right.
And like you just said it like 3 times.
Sometimes I'll address. I'll be like, "Have we said hi today? Like, is this?" Yeah.
I've seen you do that.
Yeah, exactly. So proof in the pudding. Okay, so I
That's
think
the crux of the biscuit.
we've made a nice circle. I don't necessarily think the circle's closed and it's over, but I think we've covered some good ground. I do want to go back to something, and actually I maybe should have cleared this before we even started talking on fucking record here.
Okay.
But going back to dating and like meeting people and like, you know, the digital age and like organic connections, because we work at a great place to organically meet people. You know, we meet hundreds of people a day.
If not thousands.
Right, yeah, and like we probably don't meet thousands of people a day, but we meet thousands of people a week in a month.
Definitely.
Like definitely.
It's too easy.
So several weeks ago, I met one of your roommates, and she seems like a lovely young lady. You know, like if I saw her on the app, I'd be like, "Yep, let's try to make that connection." And it's like we did make a certain connection.
But
Like
now you can.
when I rang her up in line, and then when I got off register, and I just like scurried back to the break room like a giddy little schoolboy, and I opened the door, and you're right there, and we both like had that smirk, and like we knew, because did she text you?
Well, I saw her in the store.
Okay.
But I don't
Okay.
know what I was doing.
Interesting, because yeah, I you know, like my giddy fucking schoolboy is just like, did your roommate like text you about me already? And like, oh, you know, yeah, right. So, but like that's the thing, like, yeah, there's like an age gap, whatever. But you know, like at the very least, I would be interested to like get to know her better.
Yeah,
you know,
like have a conversation.
have a conversation
Yeah.
with her.
And I think that's what dating should be. Like that's how it was in the past. Not saying that it would be like a date, but like literally you would just go out with different people like throughout the day. Like you go to dances and balls and like talk to different people and yeah, just get to know them a little bit. And then you go on to the next and you see who you vibe with the best. Like that's what our grandparents did.
Yeah.
And
They
now,
go get ice cream sundaes, you know,
but
at
it's
their
not
local
like
corner.
yeah, but it's not like I'm gonna have sex with 5 people this week and not text them back
Oh
afterwards.
jeez. Oh
Like-
man. Oh.
I'm gonna go read the newspaper.
Yeah. Oh man. So we're stumbled into some like, you know, a few ideas here. So I don't know if we're gonna be able to like pick up all the threads and get to them. I do want to say about our grandparents. My grandparents, my mom's parents, they met on a blind date.
Really?
Yeah. So I think what happened was my grandmother, her older sister, was meeting a guy.
Okay.
And like again, older sister, I don't know how old they were, but let's just say like 16, 18, like grandmother's sister. So my grandmother's sister was going on a date with this guy, and then I guess he brought a friend, and then so she was like, oh, like the mom, like I guess my great grandmother said like, oh, you oldest daughter are not going like out by yourself. Like I guess with these 2 guys, I don't know exactly.
You can just chaperone.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like you're gonna at least have like another person there, you know, like safety in numbers kind of thing. So my grandma was like the +1, and with the other +1 who was Grandpa Bill, and like they met blind date like that night, and then it was
That's
like,
so cool.
yeah.
And that's like organic and natural.
Right.
And that's how it should be.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess they fell in love. They were married until my grandfather died a few years ago. So like that's beautiful. Had 10 kids. So yeah, dude, they're Irish. They're Irish and Italian Catholic. So yeah, classic. Pregnancy is birth control.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Good Time Charlie. I don't know why my grandmother apparently called my grandfather that, but apparently he was Good Time.
Charlie.
He was Good Time Charlie.
Oh,
I
God.
thought his name was Bill.
That's the thing. That's why I don't know his nickname. I don't know why his
She
nickname was.
must have watched Good Luck, Charlie.
I mean, I don't think she did, but maybe.
Oh.
She
that
could have.
I mean, when is that show? Like.
From like
early 2000s.
Yeah.
What? She's probably
the
our age
2012
now.
or 2010s.
Yeah, Grandma was not watching Good Luck Chuck. Good Luck Charlie.
Dang.
She should.
Anyway, yeah. It's just what a funny and weird world we live in. Was there another?
I guess we're cosmonauts now.
Psychonauts?
Sure.
Oh yeah. So actually, just to bring that full circle. Also, Psychonauts is a video game.
Oh.
Just
I've heard
to
that.
like put that out there.
I knew I had heard it somewhere.
Yeah, I think it came out on like the original Xbox in like 06, 07 something. Like I bought it on computer just because I was fascinated with the idea. because I think it's like psychologists go into these different brains of people, and they're like exploring their brains like as a world.
Like
yeah,
Rick and Morty.
interesting.
Exactly. So anyway, like I imagine the game probably did not invent the phrase or the
People
word
probably
psychonauts.
just used it.
Right, they were just, but I think they
Like
popularized
astronaut
it.
is
Yeah.
like the exploration of someone that explores space.
Yeah,
Psychonaut would be
Yeah.
someone that explores
yeah.
The
the brain.
psyche.
The psyche.
Argonauts, yeah.
This schema, right?
Yeah.
That's
Your
like,
schemas.
yeah. Oh, I better get an A on those tests.
You studying?
Yeah.
Choo.
Taking those notes. Snapping the pencils.
Like breaking them?
No, just from too many notes. Like,
Okay,
just
okay,
like-
got it. You're so intently
Yeah.
writing.
Today I wrote my paper twice taking notes. I was like,
Damn, Jackson.
I know. I was like, I haven't done that once this year, and then I was like,
Well, I don't want to dox you, Jackson, but I think I just thought of an awesome fucking nickname. Jackson, the Furious Scrawl Snave.
I love it. The scroll.
The Furious Scrawl.
Furious.
The Furious Scribbler.
Angry.
He's the
with
furious
that- with
I'm
scribbler.
like
that,
scribble knots.
Scribble knots.
You
Hey,
remember that?
another freaking knot.
You ever play that SpongeBob game that was on? It was on like DS. I don't know
Yeah.
what else it was on.
Oh,
But it was
yeah.
like the Doodle Bob.
Yeah, yeah.
I love it, yeah.
No, I think it's
Or
SpongeBob
Cheyenne
and
has
Scribble
that.
knots.
Oh, is it?
I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not totally sure. Yeah, I just saw Cheyenne has her crazy
Doodle
little.
Bob
Yeah.
tattooed on
Oh yeah, I saw that for the first time the other day too. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, Doodle Bob.
I like it.
I do too.
She has
I
passion.
might get another one. I might get like Doodle Bob. I don't know,
Shit.
maybe. So since we stumbled back onto school and taking notes and such, Emma, you said you want to go to grad school, right? Are you thinking finish undergrad and then go immediately to grad school, take some time off? What are you thinking?
I don't know. I think for me, like the way that my brain works, it's easier if I just go.
Yeah.
Because once I stop, I'm not gonna want to get back to it. Like whenever COVID hit, it took me so long. Like I love
Back in
school.
school,
I
yeah.
love learning, but it took me so long to be able to like actually get invested in school and be interested and
Yeah.
like, want to be there.
it. It
Because
was
this
also a hard
semester,
time. Like,
yeah, definitely. Just for people in general.
it was hard for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I think I'll probably go immediately into it.
Okay.
To Harvard.
To Harvard.
To Harvard. It was
Nice.
going to Harvard.
Ivy.
So I'm gonna give you a little bit of pushback and challenge just to like devil's advocate,
Oh,
whatever.
please.
One of my undergrad professors, he was like very adamant about recommending everyone take a break between undergrad and grad school
What was his reasoning?
just to get some life experience. And again, like I don't necessarily believe you should do this. I'm just trying to give you, like other ideas.
Yeah, I love having different perspectives.
Because he was even saying like med school kids should also like take a break, and like I don't necessarily agree with that because I think that's something like you want to stay as sharp as possible.
Yeah, and also just like the so many years of schooling, it's like I kind of just want to get it over with.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, so like the journey is crazy, and I'm gonna tell
And
you
expensive.
to and expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even going like the journey of school is crazy. I'm just saying like the journey of life is crazy. But I guess that's expensive too. And if we want to make it specifically about school, yes, it's crazy and usually expensive. There are different ways to fund grad school. Assistantships and scholarships, whatever it is. Yeah. Hey, you could also rob a bank.
That's my plan.
I'm not suggesting it, but it is an option. Anyway.
Anyways.
Robbing a bank. We'll let that train roll right along.
We'll table that.
One of my friends, he just graduated from Duke Med School. So like,
Okay.
shout out Dr.
Slay.
Alex Gunn, slay all day.
Go Devils.
He
Although,
Devil's advocate, bro. I love it.
or Tar Heels.
Um,
cool too.
Yeah, that's fine. Everything's fine. Okay, we don't need to get into North Carolina intercollegiate politics over here. But yeah, so he has been like, I want to be a doctor. We graduated undergrad in 2013, and I think he had 4 or 5 years off from school, and he went to like Duke graduate school, like masters, to kind of like get prepped. And then he applied to med school after he had been rejected a few times, like in a few different cycles. Med school's so hard, like to get into.
Hard. That's why I kind of cut my, like, I saw what I could do, and I was like, I'm not going to do that anymore. But anyways.
Well, so real quick aside about that is that, like, you can always get a post-bac. You can always, I think, like, not to use this stupid pun, but you can, like, doctor your resume to be like, I didn't have that great of an undergrad, like, my GPA is bad because I got off to a bad start. That's why they have the MCAT to be like, well, I studied really hard and I got, like, a perfect score or near perfect score or whatever. And then you can do things like, working in a lab or whatever it is to be like, I stumbled a little bit when I was 18, 19, 20 years old, but, like, through my 20s and these recent years, like, I've committed to being a doctor, and, like, there's probably a med school for just about any prospective med student who's truly committed to it, like, the study, the practice, the craft, healing humanity. So, if that's an old dream, it's fine for it to be an old dream, but, like, there's always ways to redeem yourself.
I just think it's silly that, like, the actions that you take at 18 to 21 affect the rest of your entire life.
Yeah.
Like, because our brains are still developing at this age. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's weird for it to be, like, the deciding factor of what you do.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Again, like, the journey is crazy, and not to be, again, like, old man, like, long beard with the staff being like, in your old age you might find, but, like, your 20s are going to be wild, and, like, sometimes good wild, sometimes bad wild. And I imagine when you're at the end of your 20s, like, you're still going to feel young. Mm-hmm. Like,
I'm excited to be 30. I can't wait.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, honestly, I think 30 is, like, pretty cool. It was cool, and, like, my 30s thus far have been pretty cool. But yeah, like, right now at 32, I don't really feel much different, except in positive ways. Like, I think I've grown and, like, become better than I was when I was 28 or 27.
Well, at this point, your brain is developed, and, like, you don't have, like, the
almost
weird,
definitely,
like, prefrontal, like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, like, my body itself doesn't feel that much different from my late 20s.
Yeah.
And, like, my late 20s didn't feel that much different from my mid 20s. Whatever. Anyway, just to wrap up the whole grad school, take a break or not. Old writing professor, shout out John Breslin, said everyone should take a break. Generally, I think that's good advice. I don't think it's good advice for every single person, but I think it's good advice case by case. But I think it's, like, good for everyone to hear, just to get the idea.
Definitely.
And I took 3 years off between undergrad and grad school, and, like, I had a professional acting career, and I worked at Trader Joe's. Mm-hmm. And, like, the first year I needed, like, that was good for me. I was like, oh yeah, like, let's be an actor. Let's, like, be an artist this way. Yeah, wait, dude. Check me out on the internet.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then the second year was when I was like, oh, maybe I want to go to grad school. And, like, I was just a little late in that thinking of going to grad school, like, for that application cycle. So I had to wait, like, the whole next year. Mm-hmm. And I don't regret that because, again, like, I think it was necessary for the journey. And it also, like, reinforced that I did want to go to grad school because it was, like, another year of, like, slinging groceries and just, like, going to auditions and, like, not getting, not booking roles. And yeah, it's like, nah, dude, like, Austin has been fun, but, like, I need to get out of Austin. Like, this is too much. Like, because Austin, like New York, is, like, it feels like you're living in the internet. It's just, like, there's so much happening everywhere that's, like, you don't need to be distracted by your phone because, like, the escapism is already around you. Like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's fun, it's wild. Also, like, this is Austin back in 2015-16. I haven't been there since July of 2016. Like, that's when I moved away. But yeah, I think the 3 years were, like, really good for me. And again, like, I didn't want that last year, but it still gave me time to work on my portfolio, to work on my, like, applications. LinkedIn. Hey, I mean, I probably didn't touch my LinkedIn for all those 3 years, but I don't think LinkedIn is really helping many actors, but who knows? Leave a comment if you're an actor and LinkedIn booked you a job. I don't know.
Maybe Ryan Reynolds will comment. That'd be cool.
Yo, Ryan Reynolds, what's up with that Mint Mobile, bro?
Hook us up, please.
Hook us up. We'll promote Mint Mobile and the gritty groves out here.
Mint Mobile. I mean, the walls, they're
We're mint.
Like mint.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Emma, do you have any parting thoughts?
Not really.
No
I mean,
words of
thank you for
advice.
having me. Like,
Thanks for being here.
This
Yeah,
was
thanks for
really
coming.
cool to be able to get your guys' perspectives,
Hell
and
yeah.
talk things out.
Hell yeah.
That
Preliminary, I think we're gonna want you back. So
Okay, so
Maybe-
You want a part 2 sesh?
yeah, I could come back.
we'll do a part 2. So right now we're in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking maybe we'll see you in season 3.
Season 3, okay.
Yeah.
And we'll see.
I'll brainstorm some stuff to talk about.
Hell yeah.
Ooh.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, give us all a
yeah.
list.
Um,
Making up a category.
So we're about to end transmission, but I do want to say last thing from me personally is that if you like the music that I've chosen for us to intro and outro, that is Fang Suave, Honey There's No Time. So we're going to give them the outro right now. Like, share, and subscribe.
Bye, guys.
Bye.